Before the video starts, I have a small request. I've launched a second channel called Tour Encyclopedia, where we explore the most fascinating and beautiful places around the world. If you're interested in travel, make sure to check it out and subscribe. The link is in the description below this video. And now, let's dive into the main episode. Weekly News. The American multi-role MQ-28 Ghost Bat UAV will next month carry out the first trial launch of an AIM-120 air-to-air missile against an aerial target. Western sources report that Tehran has activated negotiations with Moscow to acquire Su-35 fighters and missiles effective against Western air defense systems. The Su-35 plus long-range combination could significantly change the balance of forces, since those aircraft would enable long-range control and targeting of Israeli aerial assets. The Americans continue to strengthen their military presence at the Puerto Rico Air Base in preparation for a possible invasion of Venezuela. Reuters reporters recorded periodic flights of V-22 Osprey, CH-53 Super Stallion, C-130 Hercules, UH-60 Black Hawk and F-35B aircraft and helicopters. Kim Jong Un attended celebrations of the 80th anniversary of the DPRK Air Force with his daughter. India is preparing to begin talks with Russia to purchase fifth-generation Su-57 fighters and the new S-500 Prometheus air defense systems. These issues will be discussed during Vladimir Putin's upcoming official visit to India, scheduled for next week. A floating base named Kordestan, hull number 442, has been officially commissioned into the naval forces of Iran's army. Recall that this is the former Tabuk, an oil tanker with a capacity of over 45,000 tons, rebuilt at the Iran Shipbuilding and Offshore Industries Complex Company, ISOICO, shipyard. In addition to a helicopter deck, space for various boats and other capabilities, the ship has been fitted with guided missile armaments, angled launch stations for up to 8 anti-ship cruise missiles, 6 are currently visible, and, according to satellite photos taken during reconstruction, vertical launch cells for other types of missiles. Poland's Ministry of Defense announced that on November 27 it received the first Leonardo AW149 helicopter assembled at the PZL Swidnik plant in Swidnik, Poland, owned by Leonardo. On November 26, the Brazilian Navy accepted the S-42 Tonelero diesel-electric submarine built to the Scorpion/SBR design, constructed at the ICN shipyard near Rio de Janeiro. This is the third of 4 submarines being built under the ProSub program in cooperation with France's naval group. The first 2, S-40 Riachuelo and S-41 Humeda, were delivered to the fleet in 2022 and 2024. Concurrent with Tonelero's acceptance, the final boat S-43 Almirante Karem was launched at ICN. It has a modified structure and is about 5 meters longer. Poland's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Defense, Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz, said on November 26 that Poland has received EU confirmation for defensive financing of €43.734 billion under the European Safe, Security Action for Europe program. SAFE provides EU member states with up to €150 billion in long-term concessional loans to enable rapid, large-scale defense procurements. Poland will be the program's largest beneficiary. Other major beneficiaries include Romania, €16.68 billion, Hungary and France, each €16.217 billion, Italy, €14.9 billion, and the 3 Baltic states together, €14.7 billion. Sweden's FMV and Finland's Ministry of Defense have signed a new contract with Finland's Sisu Auto to purchase more than 300 Sisu GTP 4x4 armored vehicles, MRAPs, for 2 billion Swedish kronor. Deliveries to the Swedish Armed Forces are planned for 2026 to 2028. To date, Sisu Auto has delivered about 120 units. In Sweden, these vehicles are known as Terrängbil 24, TGB 24. The United States is demanding that Lebanon return a high-precision-guided GBU-39B warhead that was found in Beirut and did not detonate. Washington fears this advanced technology could fall into the hands of China, Russia, or Iran. Russian Tactical Missile Armament Corporation presented a short-range multifunctional autonomous KHMDE missile that can also be deployed from UAVs. Sweden's FMV, together with UK defense departments, completed an intensive one-week evaluation of next-generation self-protection systems for fighters under the Viking Flame program. The Viking Flame exercises gather crucial data combining radar testing, electronic attack scenarios, single-use decoy evaluations and practical simulations of missile threats to raise NATO readiness against modern air defense systems, long-range radars and IR-guided weapons. A new SIPRI report shows an interesting picture. While global defense industry revenues continue to grow and reach new records, China's major defense corporations registered about a 10% decline over 1 year. The cause is prolonged anti-corruption purges in the PLA, which froze or delayed several major contracts and slowed projects amid leadership changes. Giants such as AVSE, Norinco, and CASC are among those affected. Meanwhile, the world's top 100 defense companies' combined revenues rose nearly 6% to a record $679 billion. Analysts say China continues to expand military capability, but internal cleanups and management decisions may temporarily slow modernization, a window competitors are trying to exploit. Israel's laser interception system Iron Beam, according to the head of the Ministry of Defense's R&D Directorate, will be handed over to the armed forces on December 30th. The director, Danny Gold, said Iron Beam will radically change the nature of combat, and noted work has already begun on next-generation systems. Egypt unveiled the multi-caliber multiple rocket launcher EGN-1 RAD 300, capable of firing 122, 220, 300 and 610 mm rockets with ranges up to 280 kilometers. The system uses interchangeable firing pods, greatly simplifying reloading. It can carry 20 by 122 mm, 6 by 220 mm, 4 by 300 mm rockets or a single 610 mm ballistic rocket. China's Norinco signed an agreement with Egypt for licensed joint production of the Hamza 2 attack drone, based on the Chinese ASN-209. Indian soldiers recently recorded a patrol robot deployed by China along the border. This border robot sentry is primarily intended for long-range observation. It is non-lethal but functions as an all-seeing eye with high-quality cameras and long-range sensors, providing 24/7 patrol. On any suspicious movement, the devices immediately alert the command center, enabling a rapid coordinated response. From the Kourou spaceport in French Guiana, Arianespace launched South Korea's new satellite COMSAT-7 on a Vega C rocket. COMSAT-7 is intended to meet Seoul's national needs from civilian monitoring to monitoring North Korea's military activities. The U.S. State Department has approved nearly $1 billion in potential FMS deals to support Saudi Arabia's helicopter fleet. The package includes logistics and spares, and long-term training for pilots and technicians. Covered aircraft include AH-64 Apache, CH-47F Chinook, UH-60 Black Hawk and training helicopters. Washington says the aid is to strengthen the Gulf partners' security, but some congressmen worry the package could increase Saudi influence in regional conflicts. Congress has 30 days to block the deals. Israel's Defense Force plans to ban use of Android-based smartphones for official communications among lieutenant colonels and above. Senior officers will be allowed only iPhones for official communications to reduce security risks. Greece plans to deploy a large number of multiple rocket launch systems on Aegean Islands as part of a renewed defensive strategy vis-a-vis Turkey. For the first time in combat, Russian forces used UAVs armed with air-to-air missiles for air defense purposes. According to Ukrainian sources, Garin 2 UAVs were recorded armed with Ar-60 class air-to-air missiles. These reports say such UAVs have increasingly been used by Russian forces to target Ukrainian aircraft and helicopters. After more than 2 years of quiet development, U.S. company Magnet Defense LLC publicly unveiled its first autonomous surface vessel, a 48-meter large uncrewed surface vessel, LUSV, the M48. The company says it invested over $50 million in the M48's design, construction and testing. It has already logged 32,000 nautical miles and spent 390 days at sea using AI. Reports say Thailand's Air Force has decided to acquire the medium to long-range Barak MX air defense system produced by Israel Aerospace Industries, IAI. Thailand's logistics service says the initial phase plans to procure one combat unit valued at 3.4 billion Thai baht, $107 million. Thailand would become the seventh known buyer of Barak MX. The Army and Navy are also considering Barak MX purchases to create an integrated AD/AMD capability across services. China has produced a loitering strike UAV very similar to the Iranian Shahid, named the Loong M9. Announced specs: up to 9 hours endurance, range 1,620 kilometers, ceiling 4,500 m. Chinese firm Lincoln Tianqing showcased the YKJ-1000 hypersonic missile allegedly built from very cheap materials, even foamed cement and civilian components. The manufacturer claims speeds up to Mach 7, ranges up to 800 miles, and a unit cost around $99,000, far cheaper than US interceptors. The United States has deployed its first combat unit equipped with AUKUS kamikaze drones, developed on the Iranian Shahed 136 concept. Officials say the new Special Operations Scorpion Strike Group is deployed in the Middle East. AUKUS drones, developed with Spectre Works in Arizona, can operate autonomously over long ranges and be launched from land, vehicles, and potentially ships. Tensions are growing in the Caribbean. Venezuela filed an official protest after a U.S. Air Force B-52H Stratofortress, escorted by two F/A-18 Super Hornets, reportedly violated Venezuelan airspace near Margarita Island. Officials said the bomber was flying at low altitude. India's Border Security Force, BSF, says it has deployed a layered system along the Pakistan border to counter Pakistani UAVs. The system includes radars, electro-optical and infrared cameras, and radio frequency analyzers for UAV detection, tracking and jamming. Russia and India are discussing joint projects to manufacture Arctic-class ships and civilian aircraft, announced by Deputy Prime Minister Denis Manturov. Boeing has won a contract worth about $4.7 billion to supply the most advanced AH-64E Apache Guardian attack helicopter variant to several allies, including 96 helicopters earmarked for Poland. An F-16 crashed in the United States. The pilot successfully ejected. On December 3, Germany formally put into service the Israeli Arrow strategic missile defense system, becoming the first European state with layered protection against medium-range ballistic missiles. Arrow intercepts targets above 100 kilometers altitude and outside the atmosphere up to ranges of 2,400 kilometers, creating an umbrella for Germany and neighboring countries. The €3.6 billion contract was signed in 2023. But the Arrow's first combat positions are now becoming operational across northern, central and southern Germany. Berlin links this to growing Russian missile threats and signals its readiness to be a key node of European missile defense alongside Patriot and IRIS-T systems. Korean Air and Hyundai Rotem announced a joint project to develop a 35-ton thrust reusable methane rocket engine, a core element for Seoul's future space and possibly military delivery vehicles. The project runs until 2030 with funding of about 49 billion won, $33 million. Hyundai Rotem will develop the power block and combustion chamber, Korean Air the high-efficiency turbopump. Overall coordination is by state KRIT, indicating a government strategic priority. In 2024, the global arms market reached a new record. SIPRI reports the world's top 100 arms producers recorded $679 billion in sales, a 5.9% increase over 2023. Experts attribute this to rising tensions and ongoing wars. Lockheed Martin opened a new hypersonic integration center in Huntsville, Alabama. The 17,000 square meters facility is for testing, simulation, and assembly of hypersonic systems designed to exceed Mach 5 and evade traditional air defenses. Lockheed's investments in hypersonics exceed $500 million, signaling U.S. preparation for long-term competition with China. In 2024, the top 100 U.S. companies' weapons sales revenue rose 3.8% to $334 billion. Of 39 U.S. companies listed, 30 increased weapons sales, including Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and General Dynamics. However, SIPRI notes major U.S. programs, F-35, Columbia-class SSBN, Sentinel ICBM, face overruns and delays, raising uncertainty about delivery and upgrades. SIPRI, Russia's arms sales revenue is growing despite sanctions. Russian companies Rostec and United Shipbuilding Corporation increased weapons sales revenue by 23% to $31.2 billion, offsetting export declines partly via strong domestic demand. Iran conducted the IRGC counter-terrorism exercise Sahan 2025, organized by the IRGC ground forces. The IRGC Navy held a two-day exercise in the Persian Gulf, around the Nazat Islands, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Gulf of Oman. India is leasing an attack nuclear submarine from Russia to train its sailors. The contract value will exceed $2 billion. The Indian Army carried out a tactical firing of the BrahMos hypersonic cruise missile, successfully striking a target in the Bay of Bengal, a demonstration of force projecting influence over key sea lanes. South Korea launched a $296 million project to develop short-range air-to-air missiles for its KF-21 fighters. Development is to finish by 2032 to enhance KF-21's armament and boost exports. London and Oslo announced an agreement to link their anti-submarine capabilities in the North Atlantic and Norwegian Sea, coordinating P-8A Poseidon patrol aircraft, surface ships, and submarines to detect Russian submarines and protect undersea infrastructure such as internet cables and gas pipelines. The U.S. is rolling out the SHIELD program, a $151 billion large-scale missile and air defense development initiative. The U.S. Missile Defense Agency selected 1,014 companies for the SHIELD IDIC program, which runs to 2035 and spans radars, interceptors, AI command platforms and space components. On Thursday, April 12, 2025, the Pentagon announced approval of the AUKUS security trilateral agreement with the UK and Australia, under which Canberra will acquire at least 3 Virginia-class nuclear submarines over 15 years. Raytheon completed verification trials of the Excalibur HTK, HTK, artillery projectiles autonomous guidance warhead. The test validated the system's ability to detect and track targets. HTK is a kinetic impact alternative to conventional fragmentation warheads for 155mm shells, designed to hit moving armored and mechanized targets, as well as self-propelled air defense and artillery systems. Romania will acquire a HISAR-class corvette from Turkey for €223 million, $260 million. The price includes the ship, crew training, and a logistics support package to ensure full operational readiness on delivery. German company Hensoldt extended a contract with France and Germany to continue technical support for the COBRA counter-battery radar system operation. The 3-year extension covers 2026 to 2028 and ensures uninterrupted engineering services after the current contract ends on December 31, 2025. Germany's Parliamentary Budget Committee approved a program to purchase up to 747 Twister reconnaissance drones for the armed forces at a cost of €25 million to acquire the systems. Quantum Systems platform was previously chosen as successor to the Aladdin short-range imaging reconnaissance drone. It is reported that an initial batch of 147 drones and related service support will cost about €16 million, $18.66 million. Archer Aviation signed an agreement with Karem Aircraft to integrate Karem's rotor and convertiplane systems into Archer's planned autonomous eVTOL aircraft for vertical takeoff and landing. Lockheed Martin and MBDA, together with the F-35 Joint Program Office, conducted ground tests to validate weapon bay compatibility, evaluating missile behavior and clearances to confirm whether a Meteor missile can be safely carried internally in the F-35A, which is important for maintaining low observability. The photo shows Meteor positioned inside the bay while technicians measure its behavior under different vibration and structural conditions. SpaceX announced that a group of British-built reconnaissance satellites dispatched on Transporter 15 reached low Earth orbit. The 4-satellite cluster, developed under BAE Systems' Azalea program, is intended for defense, security and civilian imagery, surveillance and reconnaissance. Reuters, citing sources, reports China has deployed large naval and coast guard forces in East Asian waters, reportedly exceeding 100 ships, representing the largest such display of Chinese maritime power to date. In the second phase of exercises, Iran carried out mass strikes with high-precision ballistic and cruise missiles launched simultaneously from deep within the country, striking all planned targets in the Gulf of Oman. These were accompanied by UAV strikes on mock enemy positions and tests of naval air defense systems to assess performance under EW conditions. The Royal Navy plans a major qualitative leap in strike capability. London confirmed plans to integrate MBDA Stratus LO low observable cruise missiles into Mk41 VLS on new Type 26 City-class frigates. Part of the launcher will be for these missiles, part for Aster 30 SAMs, turning Type 26 into a carrier of long-range, high-precision strike weapons as well as an ASW platform. Stratus LO is seen as a spiritual successor to Storm Shadow with better low observable features and flexible use against sea and land targets. Leonardo's heavy unmanned helicopter Proteus successfully completed ground trials prior to its first flight. The platform is developed with the UK Royal Navy as a multi-role large RUAV for ASW, logistics and naval group support. Navies worldwide are competing to add autonomous submarines. The Royal Navy plans a fleet of unmanned underwater vehicles, UUVs, to lead submarine tracking and undersea infrastructure protection. Australia committed $1.7 billion to Ghost Shark UUVs to counter Chinese submarines. The US is investing billions in similar projects, involving both large defense primes and startups like Anduril, maker of Ghost Shark, and German Helsing. British scientists developed a rapid method to assess blast effects on troops by creating a fully portable brain quantum scanner, described as the world's first. The device can scan a soldier's brain minutes after an explosion to give commanders real-time insight on when personnel can safely return to duty. It can analyze many weapon types, track recovery patterns, and identify soldiers at highest risk. Scanners will be deployed on front lines, in field hospitals and rehab centers. North Korea's Su-25 attack aircraft were for the first time observed externally mounted with winged missiles that resemble British Storm Shadow and German Taurus missiles in footage. China is rapidly expanding its military presence on the border with India as part of ambitious plans. Over the last decade it has built and expanded several air bases, some of the highest in the world, enabling China to control and project force across difficult Himalayan border areas. The German army received modern G95Ka-1 automatic rifles. Norway plans to spend 65 billion Norwegian kroner, $6.4 billion, to buy 2 additional submarines from Germany's TKMS, in addition to 4 already ordered, and to acquire long-range precision strike capabilities for the army. The government proposed increasing the submarine program budget by 46 billion Norwegian kroner to finance the 2 extra boats. A Ukrainian F-16AM was spotted for the first time fitted with Lu-131 launchers for APKWS-2 rockets and an AN/AAQ-33 sniper targeting pod. APKWS-2 is a laser-guided variant of the 70mm Hydra-70 rocket, initially tested on US F-15 and F-16 aircraft against UAVs and recognized as an economical, mass-produced counter-drone solution. Since 2022, APKWSs have been supplied to Ukraine and used on systems like the Vampire Shorad, indicating Ukrainian F-16s are increasingly specialized in low-cost counter-drone missions. Thank you for watching.